Human locomotion is pretty weird. The ability to walk upright is unique to us, with several adaptations in the skeleton that show this. But when, and more importantly, where did this ability come from? For years, it has been believed that our evolution began in Africa, based on several early hominin species found here, and the discovery of the truly remarkable finds at Late, a site around 3 million years old, and one that preserves tracks from early human ancestors that show even back then we were walking upright. But what if bipedalism didn't originate here, but somewhere else entirely and way earlier?
Well, this idea for the African origin of bipedalism has been challenged by a find from the island of Crete, discovered by this man. He found the tracks on the small island of Trachilos near Crete, and after seeing them, they immediately caught his attention as they appeared to resemble hominin tracks.
The footprints consist of 50 tracks in total. Due to the trackway lacking any fall imprint, the footprints appear to have been made by a bipedal animal. Multiple features, such as all the digits sitting at the front of the print, a rather large big toe, and a decrease in size from the second to fifth digits, indicated that these tracks may have been made by a previously unknown hominin species. What's more, the rocks and tracks were found to date back over 6 million years, over 3 million years older than the aforementioned Late footprints, making them the oldest possible bipedal hominin prints.
Who was around to have produced these prints? Well, there are currently 3 possibilities.
The first put forward was that an early member of the clade hominini made the tracks. The paper describes several possible candidates, such as the Italian Aureopithecus, the Greek Graecopithecus, and the African genera Aurorin and Sahelanthropus. However, the paper points out several problems with these candidates. Firstly, for Aureopithecus, it was deemed that its foot morphology couldn't make the tracks. Secondly, not much is known about the foot morphology of the other 3 primates, be that actual skeleton material or trackways, so it might be seen as a stretch to conclude they made the tracks. The second theory suggested that instead of the tracks being made by a basal member of this tribe, they were instead produced by a completely unrelated primate, with all similarities to hominin tracks being the result of something called convergent evolution. This is the process by which unrelated species evolve similar characteristics. Think about how sharks, dolphins, and extinct ichthyosaurs all have similar body shapes. The researchers explain how this isn't entirely impossible, as Miocene Greece at the time housed several families of apes. So it's not entirely impossible that one could have evolved similar characteristics to hominins. Still, this theory cannot be supported through skeletal evidence. But both these theories have come under fire since their publication, as we finally come to the third theory, that the tracks aren't tracks at all. See, ever since their description, the tracks have been heavily scrutinized. In a news article published in 2018, Professor this said,
"We got ferociously aggressive responses saying this couldn't possibly be true, and these can't be footprints at all. They would flatly deny that these would be human or hominin footprints. They would say they're bear or monkey."
There are several reasons behind it, but one interesting reason is how the footprints may be younger than was once thought. As mentioned earlier, the footprints were initially dated to the Miocene. However, 5 years later, a paper was published that reanalyzed the date of the rocks they were found in, and concluded that the stones are dated to the Late Pliocene. This throws the impression that these are hominin tracks into question for 2 reasons. One being that the rocks are now thought to represent a shallow marine environment.
For the tracks to have been preserved, they would have had to have been made during a high tide with a low sea level that could have only occurred during one of the ice ages around this time. So, a straightforward set of circumstances.
Secondly, the island of Crete at this time would have been surrounded by a deep ocean. So you can see why the authors say these prints are unlikely to have been made by hominins. Despite this argument over what these weird shapes are still going on to this day, if these are indeed the oldest hominin footprints ever found, then it's interesting to picture just what this early hominin was and where it might sit in the ever-expanding understanding of human evolution. If they're not, then that's just a bit boring in my opinion. And if you want to learn about more weird and wonderful aspects of human evolution, click the video on the screen. Until next time, bye-bye.